Huge shout out to the Loaded gang. If you guys want to be featured in the next video, all you guys have to do is like this video, subscribe, post notifications on, and leave a nice comment with your gamer tag. Yo, guys, so I want to go right into this. This is the top 5 assault rifles in Rebirth Island Warzone. You know, I had to bother my boy J God because I stayed telling him the EM2 is the best AR. It stayed being the best AR in Rebirth Island. He was telling me it wasn't, but today, I was so happy to see that it actually is the best AR in Rebirth Island. So he actually, I'm going to show you guys on screen right now. It showed all the best weapons in Warzone in general and Rebirth Island. And granted, even though the EM2 is not the overall best weapon, it is the best AR as long as you can control the recoil. And that's something he also made a good point about. So I'm actually going to start with that. It is the agency suppressor for the sound suppression, the vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Now you lose some aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and aiming stability, but then you put on the 25.8-inch task force for bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. You sacrifice aim walking movement speed, hip fire accuracy. You won't really be hip firing this, and if you point blank hip fire this, you may get lucky because of the high damage, but probably not. Aim down sight speed and sprinting move speed, not really a big deal. Put on the axial arms ×3 for better distance. The stay nag 50 round for just a ton of bullets. The sacrifice is aim down sight speed. Now if you guys don't want to sacrifice the aim down sight speed, you can put on the 40 round with no repercussion. You only have 10 less bullets. I mean, you'll probably be able to wipe an entire team with 40 or 50 rounds, completely up to you, but I mean, I choose 50 just because the downside isn't really that much. And last but not least is the field agent grip for horizontal recoil control and vertical recoil control. Now I will be honest, this build right here is a moderate build, as in like it's not for complete beginners if you can't slightly control recoil. I think this does have a little bit of recoil. It does have a little bit, but see, for me, I do have a pretty good grasp of how the recoil pattern works. I literally just like slightly tilt down my thumbstick and control the recoil pretty well. But for some people, that may not be it for you guys. It may not work the best for you if you can't control the recoil. Next, we're moving on to something that basically anybody in this video can use, which is the Cooper Carbine. Now I don't think that this one's an absolute meta compared to the EM2, but this is something that everybody can use. It has 0 recoil and it still does kill pretty fast. Now we have the MX silencer for sound suppression, vertical recoil control, and horizontal recoil control with a slight negative of aim down sight speed. Then we put on the 22-inch Cooper Custom for highly accurate and controllable, reduced scope sway and gun bob, and fire rate. Now we do lose some sprint to fire speed and hip fire accuracy, but honestly that's not big of a deal because we're using this as an AR, not an SMG. We're putting on the SVT 40 PU scope 3 to 6 times for the magnification toggle, accuracy, variable zoom, telescopic scope, and 3 to blah blah blah. Anyway, this helps with accuracy and it gives you just about the same range as the 3 times with the EM2. Putting on the Cooper Custom padded for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, plus flinch resistance, and we're sacrificing initial firing, recoil, and aiming stability. Now this one is questionable. It's completely up to you. I saw someone use Vital for increased torso damage, and personally I want to try it out myself, but I would honestly recommend either using hard scope or brace, most likely brace, just for the initial firing recoil control to counteract this issue right here of the Cooper Custom padded. A lot of people want me to use on hand for the slight, and I mean slight, it's a few millisecond ADS increase, so I chose on hand. If you don't really care for that, you can just throw on fully loaded. Then there's the polymer grip for the flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. There's no negative on this one, which is great compared to the fact that there are some negatives on some other ones. We put on the 9mm 60 round drum for the recoil control and accuracy, fire rate, aim down sight speed, and magazine ammo capacity. Now you guys see the cons. There's bullet velocity and range, bullet penetration, damage, and reload quickness, but we fixed that with lengthened. Now lengthen adds to bullet velocity, and then we add the M1941 hand stop, the recoil control, and accuracy. Now this is already a low recoil weapon, so if you do want to sacrifice brace and try out Vital, it may actually help considerably with the damage in TTK. Next, we're going to move on to one of my personal favorite weapons, the AK-47, specifically the Cold War AK-47. And we put on the Groove Suppressor vertical recoil control for sound suppression, and bullet velocity and effective damage range. Now you sacrifice the aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and aiming stability, but like I said, this gun right here is a literal laser, and I can't wait to show you guys the rest. So I put on the 20-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel for bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, and effective damage range and vertical recoil control. You don't really want to use the other ones unless you just haven't unlocked them yet. Like you haven't unlocked the Spetsnaz one yet, then you probably best bet would be using the VDV reinforced, but you most likely just want to use the 20-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel just because it's the best one. Put on the axial arms ×3 for the better range. 45 round just because there's no negatives. If you want to use a 60 round, then there's going to be a slight ADS penalty, but you'll have 60 rounds and just about guarantee you'll be able to wipe the entire team, especially at a distance. And then the last but not least, the Spetsnaz grip for the horizontal recoil control and the vertical recoil control. These two weapons right here are very low recoil, very easy to use, and honestly one of my personal favorites. But the EM2 is always going to be king for me, so whenever you see me like live and stuff, I'm most likely going to be using that. Now there's two more I want to show you guys, just because these two are very high TTK weapons, and they're very easy to use. So we're going to start out with the XM4 for agency suppressor. We put on sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Like I said, the cons are aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and aiming stability. It's not really a big deal. You're not going to be, you know, using this as an SMG. 13.5 task force for bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. This thing already has very little recoil, so you're just giving it even less. Axial arms ×3. Make sure you guys have that on. Some people like to actually put on the microflex LED, and in that case, I'd probably recommend maybe taking off, I don't know, the field agent grip and then putting on a Raider instead to use it more so as an SMG. But in this case, we're using it as an AR, so 45 round, completely up to you if you want to use a 60 round. But like I said before, the penalty is you're going to get an ADS reduction, and field agent grip for horizontal recoil control and vertical recoil control. Last but not least, the Vargo 52. Now I love this weapon. It's actually one of the more so slept on weapons, even though it was really popular when it first came out. And this weapon right here is probably one of the most overpowered low recoil weapons out of all of them. I honestly do think it's better than the XM4. I don't know the actual stats for it. I didn't look back at it, but the Vargo 52 kills incredibly fast, and I think it's amazing. So we put on the Groove suppressor for sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. You get the slight ADS reduction, aim walking steadiness, and aim stability. You put on the 18.6 task force for bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. Now this has slightly more cons, but it's not really a big deal. Like I said, you're using it as an AR. You get aim walking movement speed reduction, hip fire accuracy reduction, aim down sight speed reduction, and sprinting move reduction. Not really a big deal because you're using this as an AR. Axial arms ×3. I don't really recommend using this as like an SMG, you know, putting on a microflex or having this like no sight on it. I honestly do recommend using it as an AR. I don't think it's good as an SMG. I have the 45 round speed mag just because I still think it has the ammo glitch, so you want to kind of be safe and just reload quickly, make sure it actually reloads fast enough for you to be able to get back into the action. It does kill extremely fast though. And last but not least, we have the Spetsnaz grip with the horizontal recoil control and vertical recoil control. This weapon right here, probably the easiest weapon to use in extremely high TTK, and you will get the best bang for your buck.